Martin Kenny is sharing with Jack Donor Brian 10 minutes in total.
First of all, I want to thank the Rural Independence Group for bringing this motion forward this evening. Really, the essence of the motion is setting out the difficulties that we have in many parts of the country in regard to the outcome when we don't have an appropriate system that's working properly and delivering properly. And certainly we see that in many areas. And there are pollution problems, that's to be acknowledged, and there are also restrictions on development and restrictions on expansion in many areas where it's badly needed to happen. And one of the things that certainly comes into my mind, living in a rural area in County Leitrim, where I think at this stage in County Leitrim almost 35% of the water will be delivered through group water schemes. And that is putting huge pressure on the main source of water, which is in Carrick-on-Shannon, which is in the water treatment plant there, which, when a meeting with Leitrim County Council only 2 weeks ago, Minister, they told me that they needed to get funding from Irish Water to get that treatment plant at least 50% additional capacity into that to cope not only with the pressure that's on it at present, because it's at above full capacity, and they need to have a certain storage there, but they don't have that, and indeed look to the future for any expansion that may come throughout the county. In addition to that, we also have in my constituency, of course, and I know you're aware of it, Lough Talt in County Sligo, where there is a huge problem there with the water treatment system. And you know, there's an upgrade supposed to happen. We understand there's issues with planning and with various things, but I think every effort needs to be done to get that moving as quickly as possible and to get the investment in place. And I also want to acknowledge at the same time that there is investment happening in some places. Earlier this month, last month in September, I was in Bundoran, where there was a €25 million project for an upgrade of the water treatment system there. So there is investment happening in some places, but not enough of it happening, and not enough of it happening in many areas around the country. And one of the big issues that we have with Irish Water in regard to that is that there is a kind of a failure or a sense that people can't get the connection between what the needs of the people are and what Irish Water is prepared to deliver. And the example I give of that is in a town or in an area where there be a potential for some business to come or something, like in Carrick-on-Shannon we have a business there called Masonite, which uses a lot of water. Now it takes the water from the Shannon, but other businesses we looked at that were going to come to the area that needed water, there was a difficulty in providing water for them. And Irish Water obviously is not the local authority and doesn't have any responsibility in regard to economic development, whereas the local authority has a responsibility around that. And there's a disconnect there. So I think there needs to be more happening in respect of that. Also, and it was mentioned about the group water schemes and also group sewage schemes, which I think has the potential to do a lot in many areas where we have, on the outskirts of small towns and villages, where we have areas where there's a lot of septic tanks in place and there's an opportunity for to put in group sewage schemes there and pump back into the treatment plant in the town or village. And that seems to be a freeze on the funding in regard to getting those in place. The issues that have been raised in the motion and the call for additional investment, I think, is very clear. We need to see that investment. However, and I know Deputy O'Brien will go into it in more detail, we're also conscious that the money that has been allocated to Irish Water for to spend on the wastewater systems has been unspent and underspent for the past number of years and continues to be the case right up until today. So, really we need to see a clear commitment from government to deliver for people, not just the people in urban Ireland, but also the people in rural Ireland. One of the issues, and I'll be bringing it up again later on, is in regard to septic tanks and regard to sewage treatment systems for single houses, which we have a problem in many areas of the country where the EPA has a ban on building a house in rural Ireland if it doesn't meet the percolation test, regardless of the quality to which you treat that sewage. At present, and we have instances in County Leitrim where the sewage is treated to a bathing water standard, and yet you can't get planning permission because, regardless of what standard you treat it to, they have this zero discharge rule in place, and we need to have that issue dealt with also. The fundamental principle here is that the money needs to be put in place, but it seems that even when the money is in place, Minister, and we see some of the money in place with Irish Water, it's not going to the right places, it's not delivering to ensure that we protect the environment and that we provide for people's needs going into the future. So I think, I want to welcome the motion here this evening. I want to suggest that, Minister, you need to take a hands-on approach with Irish Water to ensure that they deliver for people, because the feedback we are getting from local authority members and from people around the country is that they're getting a poor service when they try to talk to Irish Water about what their needs are. I'll leave it at that.